A very good evening to you all. Happy Friday. We hope you had a productive week. Welcome to English News Bulletin here on Rwanda Television. We are glad you could join us. Let us begin with the headlines. On Friday, President Kagame and First Lady Jeanette Kagame participated in the opening ceremony of the 19th Francophonie Summit alongside other heads of state and government members. During the extraordinary session, the senators elected members to the Senate's standing committees and approved the committee responsible for overseeing the conduct, behavior, and immunity of the senators. My name is Olive Nete. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. And we kick off today's edition with this story that says that on Friday, President Kagame and First Lady Jeanette Kagame participated in the opening ceremony of the 19th Francophonie Summit alongside other heads of state and government members. Details with Prince Manzi.
On Friday, French President Emmanuel Macron officially opened the 19th Francophonie Summit in Villers-Cotterêts, participated in by President Kagame and First Lady Jeanette Kagame, alongside other heads of state and government members of Francophonie. French President Macron emphasized that the French language helps in trade, business, and innovation. The French head of state adds that no one is to be stuck on one language, hence has to be taught alongside other languages. President Emmanuel Macron reiterates that the unified Francophonie should enhance the prevention of hate speech and rumors.
S'il en fallait encore que le français est ce pont entre les siècles, les peuples.
French is a bridge between generations, groups, and people in general. Francophonie is a community that helps in achieving this. The network's diversity and pluralism are respected and built on valuing different cultures and people, as emphasized by the author Suleiman Bashir in his latest book. This is why a family believes that the Francophonie is an area that has a stable diplomatic voice that helps us and to solve the problems of this century. Us, and those connected with France, must try to keep up with the development of technology. This is what should make us collaborate to create new things and to increase our ability in terms of competition and to build a technological field that helps us and protect all of us. As a community, we must fight against the hate speech and hatred that is spread in the form of internet and fight against racist language, racial discrimination, and discriminative languages.
Discours de haine, les discours racistes, les discours antisémites.
In her speech, the Secretary General of the Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie, Louise Mushikiwabo, reiterated that the organization prioritizes the collaboration of French with other languages, and the organization should not be mistaken as the ancient French politics in Africa. Rather, cultural varieties of Francophonie country members is the organization's strength.
Et non, la francophonie n'est pas la France-Afrique. Elle n'est pas seulement hexagonale.
Francophonie is not a French field in Africa. It is not a community of Africans. It is a global community. This community is on 5 continents. It is the common property of 88 countries and governments. Tomorrow will be more than 88. It is a community that connects with times and progress, impacting in stable projects. After 54 years of being in charge, OEF is an international organization united by countries which has managed to keep up with the times, to consult and listen to youth and women. Both groups we prioritize in our activities.
Les deux cibles principales de nos activités.
The 19th Francophonie Summit is held under the theme Create, Innovate, and Do Business in French.
Thank you, Prince, for the details. Now, moving ahead, earlier today in Maseru, Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente represented President Paul Kagame in the celebration of the Kingdom of Lesotho's 200 years of nationhood and 58th independence anniversary, which also featured a general cooperation signing between the two governments. Adam Skizera has more.
In a momentous occasion commemorating the 200th anniversary of Lesotho's founding and the 58th anniversary of its independence, Prime Minister Tsokowane Samuel Matekane and King Leslie III presided over the ceremonial raising of the national flag in Maseru today. This significant event brought together various dignitaries, including the Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente, who represented President Paul Kagame in this ceremony. During the ceremony, King Leslie III expressed his heartfelt gratitude to the ones that made all these 200 years Lesotho stand firm, together with the development witnessed over the past 58 years after gaining their independence. Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Chirene, after the ceremony, he delivered a special message from President Paul Kagame to King Leslie III on the occasion of Lesotho's bicentennial celebration. Later on, he also held a meeting with his counterpart Tsokwane Matekane, during which a general cooperation agreement was signed between the two governments. Rwanda and Lesotho share cordial relations that are evidenced by high-level visits and signed agreements and MOUs in various areas of mutual interest. Rwanda and Lesotho officially established relations in 1983. Both countries are represented by their 9 resident missions in Pretoria and Addis Ababa, respectively. Rwanda, through the corporation, from June 2023, has hosted 7 delegations from Lesotho comprising 66 delegates in various sectors including agriculture, finance and public service. Adams Kwizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams, for the detailed report. Now to other matters. During the extraordinary session, the senators elected members to the Senate standing committees and approved the committee responsible for overseeing the conduct, behavior and immunity of the senators. We have more in the story. The President of the Senate, Dr. François Kalinda-Savier, initiated the election of members for each Senate committee. The activity was led by the Senate Vice President in charge of Legislature and Government Oversight, Senator Nyirahabimana Solina. Before the election of committee leaders commenced, each senator aspiring to be a leader of the committee was given 3 minutes to present their qualifications and experiences, highlighting their suitability for the role. In these elections, Senator Usta Kaitesi was elected as the chairperson of the Committee on Political Affairs and Governance, with Senator Uwera Pelagi serving as the vice chairperson. Senator Nsengiyumba Fulgence was elected chairperson of the Committee on Economic Development and Finance, alongside vice chairperson Nyinawamwiza Letitia. Senator Murangwa Ndangiza Hadija was elected as the chairperson of the Committee on Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Security, with Senator Rugira Amanda serving as the vice chairperson. Additionally, Senator Umhire Adri was elected chairperson of the Committee on Social Affairs and Human Rights, while Senator Cyprien Nyomugabo was elected as vice chairperson of this committee. A committee was also established to oversee the conduct, behavior, and immunity of the senators. The ordinary session is set to begin on Monday next week, during which the Senate will focus on its responsibilities, including voting on laws, monitoring government activities, confirming officials, and ensuring compliance with the fundamental principles outlined in the Constitution. Moving ahead with more news, at the General Assembly of the Rwanda Investigation Bureau held on Friday, Minister of Justice Dr. Ugirashebuja Emmanuel emphasized the need for the prosecution sector to uphold essential principles in their work. He urged them to prioritize integrity and combat corruption to ensure the delivery of quality justice services to the public. We have more. The conference focused on the theme of professionalism and transparent collaboration through technology, gathering senior officials from the prosecution and representatives of the prosecutorial personnel from across the country. The meeting aimed to discuss achievements, address challenges, and implement new strategies to enhance their duties. Retired Colonel Jano Ruhunga, the General Secretary of the Rwanda Investigation Bureau, highlighted that the primary goal of this assembly is to foster professionalism and transparency in their daily responsibilities.
Working professionally encompasses many aspects, including integrity, delivering the required services, and doing so transparently while adhering to the law. The reason we emphasize the use of technology in all of this is that Rwanda has prioritized technological advancement, which is progressing rapidly. While wrongdoers also use technology to commit crimes, failing to enhance our own use of technology in service delivery will leave us behind, allowing these evildoers to continue their harmful activities.
Some members of the prosecution personnel who participated in the meeting expressed their commitment to enhancing professionalism and prioritizing citizens' needs in their work.
It has helped us to prepare well for the future, reminding us to place the citizen at the center of everything we do. how we receive them, how we listen to them, and how we assist them until they achieve justice.
In our workplaces, we will share the knowledge gained from this assembly to highlight what was done wrong and work together to correct those issues. Since we work for the well-being of the citizen, it is essential to place the citizen at the center of our efforts to ensure they receive quality services. In his address to the prosecution personnel, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, Dr. Emmanuel Ugirashebuja, reminded them that the prosecution serves as the mirror of justice. He stressed the importance of prioritizing integrity in their work to uphold the credibility of the justice system.
We had an opportunity to discuss quite a number of issues, but one of the most important issues was to remind ourselves on the mandate of RIB and what RIB was in the first place set out to do. One of the key pillars of the work of an investigator is to have integrity, people with integrity. So we reminded ourselves that it is important to enhance integrity in RIB. So the second issue that we discussed was the issue of how crime changes its faces every day and how better to deal with this issue. Of course, Rwanda Investigation Bureau is on top of the game, and that's why it plays an important role in securing our country and ensuring that no one goes scot-free when they commit the crimes.
The General Assembly is held annually, bringing together senior officers of the Rwanda Investigation Bureau and prosecutors from across the country. This year's assembly saw participation from approximately 286 attendees. Now to environmental matters, as Rwanda gear up for the 29th Conference of the Parties, COP29, in November, the delegates representing Rwanda at this conference have said that one of their objectives will be to showcase the progress of the country has made in environmental conservation and to highlight opportunities for investment in this sector. This revelation was made during the second edition of the climate talks in Kigali. William Evans has more.
Topics related to funding initiatives for environmental protection, prevention, and adaptation to the impacts of climate change are expected to be key discussion points at the conference, bringing together representatives of countries that signed the Paris Agreement, which will happen this year in November. However, securing financing for the mentioned activities remains a big challenge, especially since individual countries must also seek out local funding for themselves rather than solely relying on assistance from developed nations. A 7% portion of Rwanda's budget this year has been allocated to activities related to environmental protection and addressing the impacts of climate change, but this percentage is expected to keep increasing. If you remember, we sadly lost people due to floods last year, but also our agriculture sector keeps being affected by climate change issues, which in the long run cause price fluctuations on the market for agricultural produce. And because of that, as government, we have devised means to quickly protect our people. We have allocated to the activities related to environmental protection and addressing the impacts of climate change, and plan to increase this percentage with time.
Ariko uko tugenda dushira mu bikorwa ingengo y'imari no mu myaka iri imbere turateganya yuko bigomba kugenda bizamuka.
The impacts of climate change continue to severely affect developing countries, especially on the African continent, with Rwanda being no exception. Despite the fact that Africa contributes only 4% of global greenhouse gas emissions, the effects are still profound. However, Faustin Munyazikwiye, the Deputy Director General of Rwanda Environment Management Authority, REMA, emphasizes that Rwanda is actively engaged in various initiatives and identifies areas that require investment, which Rwanda will showcase at the forthcoming conference. We shall talk about several initiatives, including the Rwanda Green Fund, which is a groundbreaking environment and climate change investment fund that has mobilized over $247 million in just 10 years. Rwanda's budget allocation to environmental protection activities and addressing the impacts of climate change, and we shall also showcase our climate finance departments, among other things. In addition, we shall also highlight the available investment opportunities in this field to attract foreign investment.
baze bashora imari mu birebana no guhangana n'ingaruka z'imihindagurikire y'ibihe yewe n'isoko rya carbon.
Rwanda aims to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions by 38% by the year 2030, a goal that is projected to require an investment of approximately $11 billion. This ambitious target highlights the country's commitment to combating climate change and promoting sustainable development. William Evans, Mutabazi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, William, for the details. Now, those operating in the Bugesera District Special Economic Zone have presented to the Minister of Trade and Industry the challenge of inadequate electricity they have been facing. This is as the Minister visited the zone on Friday, and Prudence Sebahizi assured the businessmen and women that a long-term solution to the problem is going to be found.
Industrial economic is very good. Environment is very good. People very friendly. The investment environment is good. The challenge is not raw material not enough. Electricity sometimes is most of it good, but sometimes we stop broken. We request ask the government help us to stop to export waste paper. At the same time, challenge is waste paper because Uganda and Kenya.
Brings us to the end of tonight's bulletin. On behalf of the news production team and technical team, thank you for joining us through this edition. Have a restful and blessed weekend.